you today, and we are going to be talking about the skills of the future and specifically the ones that are most likely to connect with the skills of employability. So this whole idea of a durable career, and what does that mean when we talk about career durability? Now, career durability is a term that I first heard from one of our speakers at our symposiums that we love, Alexandra Levitt, and she's a future of work enthusiast as well. And she talked about some different factors that went into career durability. But today I want to talk about it specifically related to some McKinsey data that is looking at what skills do people need in the future, and then what of those skills correlate with employability. And we enjoy talking about the new and the next here at Career Thought Leaders. It's always good to see you. Thank you all for joining us. And if you are watching the replay or you're joining it live, please feel free to drop a hello and a replay if you're watching the replay in the chat, and let me know what you think about some of these skill sets that we'll be talking about today. So this McKinsey data, and you know that I love McKinsey's research and the way that they look at things. So what are they saying about the skills that are needed for the future, and then specifically what's needed for employability? How do you stay employable? And that's really, people are talking about recession-proofing your career. I love this idea of career durability, because that means whether it's a recession or not, how am I thinking about making my career what I want it and over the long haul? So kind of think of sustainability, but sustainability often makes you think about, the green and green careers, which is good, but that's not what we're talking about now. We're talking about how do you stay employable over the duration of your life or over the time that you want to stay employed. And I think all of these skills also apply for people who are running their own business or want to become entrepreneurs, because of the way that McKinsey has laid out this detail. So let's go ahead and dive into these skills that we need to stay employable in the future. And so let me see here. These are the skills of the future. See if this will show up here. White screen of death. Maybe. Okay, we'll try it again. Let's see if we can get past the white screen of death. There are some skills from McKinsey, I promise. Okay, so let's see here. There we go. There we go. All right, now we're cooking, I think. Yes. So they broke their skills of the future out into 4 separate areas that we'll go through: cognitive, interpersonal, skill leadership, self-leadership, and digital. So you can see kind of the bigger headings here at the top, with the cognitive showing the critical thinking, planning and ways of working, communication, and the flexibility, mental flexibility. So these are some of the main skills. They're not surprised, right? We've been seeing the talk of these skills come about, and then we're going to show how they relate to employability and which ones are most important there. I thought it was interesting, the planning and ways of working, looking at that, can you plan and project manage? We've heard about critical thinking a lot, but this one takes it a little bit deeper to see what does that actually mean? What are some of the components of that? So I'd love to hear which ones of these you've seen be more important for you or your clients. On the interpersonal side, the mobilizing systems. I like that, mobilizing systems. So can you negotiate? Can you create an inspiring vision? Do you have organizational awareness? Then you've got the developing relationships, empathy, trust, humility, teamwork effectiveness. Down here, we've got that fostering inclusiveness. We've been talking about inclusive culture a lot lately, motivating different personalities, collaborating, coaching, empowering. So these are 2 of the 4 that they are sharing with us. And then let's look at the next 2 here. Whoa. Not so much with the scroll. Okay, so self-leadership. kind of that emotional awareness, emotional intelligence going along with the relationship building side, right? Emotional intelligence has both sides, the relationship as well as the self management, self leadership here. And just talking about our motivation, our self confidence. Interesting to see confidence show up in this area, entrepreneurship, goal achievement. So, can I set a goal and go after it, have that grit and perseverance? Then the digital skills with the digital literacy, software development, interesting, software use and development. Not all of us are going to be developers, obviously, but all of us need to be able to use software to be more efficient. And then you've got that data literacy, smart systems, cybersecurity, very forward thinking skills. So if you're joining me today or on the replay, drop a little note. Tell me which ones of these you've seen be important in your career or your client's career. I'd love to hear what you're seeing and in the marketplace in these 4 skills. So you've got the self-leadership, the digital, and then above that, we had the cognitive and interpersonal. These are, novel. We've probably seen these before. What is interesting is the research that goes into what skills correlate the most with employed and employability. So it goes through which skills correlate with the education. It's not really that surprising. And then it goes through which of these skills are linked with a higher likelihood of employment. And so I want to show you this, very interesting as we think about helping our clients plan out their development plans, use all the resources they have for free training. What does that look like and what skills might they want to be focused on? So skills that are correlated with employment. So up here, proficiency in certain skills, and those that, Delta is the acronym they're using for their skills. And then those that had the highest employment percentage. So not surprisingly, adaptability, right? Can you go from one situation to the next, one employment situation to the next, coping with uncertainty, synthesizing messages, achievement orientation, fostering inclusiveness. That's an interesting one to be up that high. Energy, passion, optimism, understanding own strengths, digital collaboration, smart systems. So you start to get a little bit more of those hard skills in there, and then self-control and regulation. So how can we help our clients build their skills in these other areas, right? How can we help them build their skills in adaptability, in coping, in synthesizing, achievement, fostering inclusiveness, maybe some emotional intelligence work that they're doing there, and some relational work, a lot of kind of the independent thinking and adaptability. How do you learn that? And how do we help people foster that? Having to move from one situation to another is going to build that skill. It's going to flex that muscle. How can we help them put themselves in that situation more often without overdoing it and causing, anguish? But how can they build those skills that are really going to help them be more employable in the future? And I just found this fascinating as we're looking at employability and how do you help someone be more employable, that digital literacy is there, being able to use the smart systems, but look at all of these employability skills on top of that really have nothing to do with that hard skill. And you know that we are huge fans of personal branding in career thought leaders, and personal branding at a very deep and authentic level. And when I saw this too, I thought, there's some data that we can share with our personal branding strategists, because this is something that knowing who you are and knowing how you bring value to everything that you do is huge when you think about this layer of skills. So understanding one's own strengths, energy, passion, optimism, you've got to bring that. You've got to create that by knowing who you are and what you're doing right now. How is it contributing to who you are and where you want to go? Just thinking about that, coping with uncertainty. How can we help people ground themselves in who they are and the value that they bring? Because that foundation really adds to all of these pieces. And I didn't get a chance to do it yet, but we've got some data that looked at personal brand and the skills that it helped people develop. And there's some crossover there between those skills and employability that first study wasn't able to draw a direct connection. And now that I see this study, I think it's even increasing the connection between these skills that help people be employable and really understanding the foundation of who they are, how they add value, and of course, who their audience is, who's their community that they want to be connecting with and building relationships with. And we're starting this class on August 23rd, so coming up here shortly. But I just thought that the play together was quite interesting in terms of the skills and how they add value. So as you're thinking about your clients, how could you help them build these skills? I mean, they're not going to be able to go take a class in adaptability, right? Maybe there's something on LinkedIn Learning. I have to go and look. Let me know if you're watching the replay, you find something on LinkedIn Learning that's about adaptability. But how do we help them build these skills? It's really through practice and through taking little risks and learning that they can succeed. You'll remember that confidence and self-confidence was also on this list. And so how can we help them build those skills? They go together, because when you do something new, you'll have to adapt, and then you get that confidence that, hey, I was successful in that. Now I'm confident that I can do something like that again. That's the self-confidence piece. And then I can come back and be ready to take on that next uncertain situation and be adaptable again. What does that plan look like for them? What does it look like for you? To take a little risk, to step out, maybe do something different so that you can feel that success and build on it. I talk with a lot of people, and a lot of people in our business, in the careers business, who feel like they're in a rut or they feel stuck. And the number one thing to do when you feel that way is to try something new. Unfortunately, that risk also oftentimes means taking some kind of financial risk or time risk, which is financial risk when you're in your own business, right? And even when you work for someone else, it's a risk. How can you scale that down to the size where it feels manageable? Because, keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. And actually today you're going to get less than you've always gotten by doing the same things you've always done, because the world is moving. And if we aren't moving with it, we're not going to get the same things we've always gotten. We're going to get less because we're doing the same things that are now outdated, antiquated, not as effective as they used to be. So when we think about helping people learn these skills, helping ourselves learn these skills, what is one thing that you could do to step out? It's going to feel uncomfortable. It might feel a little overwhelming. I think we're maybe a little bit too cautious when it comes to being overwhelmed. I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I need my balance. Yes, you do need your balance. And guess what? If you're feeling stuck or bored or unfulfilled, you're going to have to step out. And when you do that, it's likely going to cause that feeling of being out of balance. And we're going to have to push through that for at least a little bit to get to whatever else it is that we're looking for. And sometimes that is taking on more work-life balance. Sometimes that's the challenge, or that's the risk, right? It's saying no to some things so that we have that balance. And then eventually there's going to be another, wax or wane or whatever you call it, where again, we're going to have to step into something new to take that step that we're looking for, take a risk, get something and putting it out there. And many of you have heard, my story, starting with leaving the university to start my own business really wasn't that much of a risk because I had already been doing it while I was working, which a lot of people do. So leave the university, start my own business. One little, well, it was a little risk, but it was kind of a little risk because it wasn't hard to replace my salary at that level. And then you get that success and you say, okay, the next time. So got the opportunity to take on the leadership of CTL and RWA. Wasn't a little risk, it was bigger, but I could build on that success from the risk I'd had before. And then 2 years after moving into the leadership of CTL and RWA, Yay, we should have an international conference. That risk, that reward, right? And even if it's not the biggest success ever, because you took that risk, any measure of success helps you build that confidence to do it again the next time. So just think about that as we move into, it's new month. It's about to be the last quarter of 2022. What is one little risk that you could take this year that could help you build that confidence towards the future? How could you help your clients do the same? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't even have to require a whole bunch of resources. I know many of us work with clients that don't have that many resources. Maybe it's joining a committee at their existing job. Maybe it's saying yes to something. I know we talk a lot about saying no, but what do they need to say yes to? Because that's why we say no. We say no so that we have the space to say yes to the things that do fit, to the things that do stretch us in the right ways. And then we can build on that as we move forward. So I'd love to hear if you want to drop it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, let me know where you're joining from and what's your little risk, or what little risks could you help your clients take this year when we think about how we move forward. Oh, thank you. Hello. Good to see you. Thinking about moving forward and how we can take risks. I love it. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. And when I think about these skills, adaptability, coping with uncertainty, and achievement orientation could all fit together into this idea of helping our clients do that. They're going to learn these skills by doing and really by having success in taking on those challenges. If you would like more information, as I said, we do have our personal branding class coming up starting August 23rd. Help people build that foundation, really clear about who they are and what they stand for and who they want to add value to and how they add value to them. I love this class because Susan Critton does such a great job of also helping those who are attending, the coaches who are attending, build that for themselves. And you go out into the world and you're unstoppable because you have that confidence of who you are, what you stand for, how you add value, and who you want to add that value for. So we will be back again next Tuesday. Got some other fun content for us to talk about. But if you have some suggestions or questions that you'd like me to answer, feel free to throw it my way. And be happy to answer those questions and bring other resources as we move forward. Also share a little bit more information next week about the personal branding strategist and give you a sneak peek of some of the workbook pages that our strategists use to go through the program and use with their clients. We'll see you next Tuesday, everyone. Thank you.